y'all, welcome back to another video with laughs, gags, and gossip. Now let's get into the mess. I already started with a blooper, okay? Welcome back to the channel, Celebrity Scandalous. Can somebody let me know if you can hear me? Because I just realized I was talking and I wasn't even added to the stream. But anyway, thank you for coming back to the channel. And tonight, I'm just going to jump into it. It's not going to be a long one. But of course, it's Diddy news. Everybody's talking about Diddy. Remember, just last night, I said every couple of days, almost every week, there's a new lawsuit against Diddy, right? There's a new woman coming forward, a new woman saying that he did some new allegations. Well, you know what? As much as, Cassie definitely was a victim. Diddy probably had a lot of victims, but now, seriously, let's look at this new lawsuit today, and then we're going to have a talk, y'all. This might be an unpopular opinion, but YouTube is not my only check, okay? Matter of fact, it's a small check. So I don't have to get on here and lie. I think people are kind of pumping this up now. Now it's getting a little salacious. I want Diddy to go down like anybody else, but you got to take a step back and really look at the facts of the case. Like I said, for those of you who watch me, I used to be a litigation secretary, not an attorney, and not in criminal law, but I have sued companies as well, employment law. So we got to look at this. So let's jump into this new case, and then let's talk about why I think this is starting to fall apart. Some of the civil suits, not the federal investigation. We are still waiting to see if there's going to be an indictment, but some of these lawsuits are starting to appear to be a money grab. I know it's not popular, y'all, but let's jump into it. Okay, hold on. Let me y'all know I'll be a little slow when it comes to making my transition, so please bear with me. I'm clicking on the wrong stuff, you guys. So I want to do the share screen, and here's the new lawsuit. Okay, this is what we're going to talk about. Everybody's been talking about it because it just came out today. This is not the girl. Hold on one second. This is not the young lady who came out 2 days ago, the model, and said that she kept the dress. Remember, I was saying she Monica Lewinsky'd him. Not her. This is somebody who came out today, and she has actually named Kim Porter. I'm not saying that she's suing her because I haven't really looked at the lawsuit. I haven't seen the pleadings, but I'm just, going over the things that I've read in articles and everything. So check this out, you guys. It says new sexual assault. Oops, we're not even supposed to say that. New sexual assault lawsuit. Woman claims he raped her. He raped her. So a new Diddy accuser is suing him over multiple sexual assaults encounters. She claims started back in the 1990s after they met in New York, TMZ has learned. April Lampros, she says she was a student at the Fashion Institute and says he offered to mentor her in the fashion industry. One thing that we see about these women, of course, not victim blaming. These women probably, a lot of them were looking for a quick come up. Let's be real. Of course, you meet Diddy, you think he's going to do something for you, but 9 times out of 10, you just gonna get bedded. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like the downfall of some of these people really thinking that these guys are serious and real. I hate to say it, but So she says she was a student at the Fashion Institute and says he offered to mentor her in the fashion industry. Okay, well, I guess that would make sense because he did have Sean John. He did have a clothing line. After showering her with gifts and flowers, see, that's the key right there. If the person is mentoring you, because I've had mentors in my professional career, corporate career, once you start crossing the line with flowers and gifts, then it becomes more of a relationship. It becomes almost sexual. So red flags, but I'm going to assume that she was young. After showering her with gifts and flowers, April claims they met up in 1995 at a Soho bar where he gave her alcohol, then brought her back to his room at the Millennium Hotel. So again, and here's the young lady right here. Of course, the other girl's face is blurred out, but I guess this is a photo of her back in the 90s. You're going, so you're drinking with this man, and now you're going to his room. I mean, I got a question like, okay, that's an unpopular comment. Oh, right? Are you victim blaming? No, I'm not. But you got to make better decisions. If a man is giving you purses and money and gifts and stuff, what the hell you think he won't? To just sit there and look at you like you Mona Lisa? You're not over there in Paris at the Louvre. You know what I'm saying? Like, be realistic. And you don't have to be 30 to use some, I mean, I know this is not popular, but let's be real, you guys. I mean, come on. So in the docs, April says she started to feel ill, as if the walls were closing in on her, as Diddy allegedly started to force himself on her. And I do believe that, Diddy could cross the lines. I mean, no doubt. She says she was still conscious but unable to defend herself, and he began raping her. She says she woke up the next morning nude, confused, and sore. Hey, I get it. Months later, she heard from Diddy as he began pursuing her again. She claims he lured her with access to music industry events. So basically, even after that situation occurred, he lured her back, I'm sure, with gifts, money, probably telling her that he could introduce her to people. So she willingly went back into the lion's den, unfortunately, but that's what it sounds like. Her attorney describes her as a hopeful yet naive college student. And of course, they're always naive, but when you're taking gifts from people, there's not that much naivety in the world, I don't think. These are college age, these are not underage girls. So we got to look at both sides. Diddy is wrong as two left shoes, but you got to stop saying, I had no clue what was going on. Well, hell, if somebody started giving me too much, I'm side-eyeing them. I mean, that's common sense, I would think. So anyway, she goes on to say he lured her back. So this is them, I guess, at some parties and stuff. Um, well, the faces are blurred out, but they're showing her right there. She claims they were on their way to dinner, walking to his car in a parking garage when he forced her to perform oral on him. April says a garage attendant saw them, but Diddy was unfazed. Diddy be like, "Girl, I do group activities. This ain't nothing." After that alleged incident, April says she rejected his continued invitations and grew angry, and he grew angry, I'm assuming, calling her incessantly and threatening to blacklist her in the industry. Well, Cassie said he did the same thing to her. He developed a mobster persona. Okay. Y'all, am I on here? I'm up here talking and I'm still on mute. Okay. So let me go back. And I had to cough. I'm sorry. Basically, she's claiming that there was an incident in 1996 when he ordered her to his apartment. And when she got there, she was introduced to Kim Porter. Okay. She claims he forced ecstasy down her throat and then demanded she have sex with Kim while he masturbated. Eventually, she alleges he raped her. So what I'm saying and what I was saying before I didn't realize that I was talking with the sound off is that Tyrone Blackburn is the attorney who filed this case, right? He did not have to put Kim's name in there. He could have said an unnamed person. Kim Porter is not here to defend herself. Kim Porter is not here to have her day in court. And so by him putting Kim's name in there, he knows this is more salacious, that more people are going to want to read about this. He knows this is going to be a public document, that people are going to, get it offline or wherever they get these legal documents from. And just naming Kim Porter in this just makes it like, oh, not that it gives more credence to what occurred that night, but I really feel like this is what Tyrone Blackburn is constantly being called out for and possibly being sanctioned for. They're saying that he's writing these lawsuits like stories, like movie scripts or something, and just making them salacious and putting things in there that is just titillating. When, I mean, like, when you talk about lawsuits and stuff, and you talk about evidence and you talk about material facts, that's not necessarily what this is, right? She's alleging something happened. This is hearsay. So why did you have to put Kim Porter's name in there? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why this attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, is facing sanctions and possibly a malpractice suit. And we're going to get into that in a minute. But just keep in mind, I'm not saying that she's not a victim. I'm not saying this stuff didn't occur. But you guys got to remember, you have to remember in law, it's not always what's right or what's wrong. It's how well you can prove your case, right? We see people get off on red rum all the time. So if this attorney is being this lax and not following the guidelines, and I have been out of, being a secretary for so long that I forget some of the terminology. But if he's not following the standards and just doing things that the court is going to deem reckless, he's going to mess it up for his clients. And I feel like he wants more notoriety than he is really trying to win cases, because he's become more famous for filing the suits, but not winning any. Okay. So anyway, it says April says she finally broke things off in 1998, but then had a run-in. Now, this is another thing what does this have to do with Kim? If we're talking about Diddy's abuse, why is Kim being brought up in this? Again, the one where she talks about the encounter with him that he, had her, where she introduced, where he tried to force her to have relations with Kim. It could have been an unnamed person. So let's listen to this. April says she finally broke things off in 1998. When did they get together? I think she first met him in 1995. Okay, so you spent a little bit of time with this brother, ma'am. So you know what I'm saying? You're getting gifts, you were doing stuff, so you spent some time with them. She says finally she broke things off in 1998, but then had a run-in with Kim at a restaurant where April was working. According to the suit, Kim told the restaurant owner April had tried to poison her, and if he didn't fire her, Diddy would shut down his business. April says she was fired. I mean, listen, any of this is possible. I don't put nothing past nobody. I don't think just because Kim Porter is no longer here that she's totally innocent. My point about Kim Porter is just the fact that she's not here to defend herself. And if she was running around with Diddy, I mean, her hands are a little dirty too. Cassie, all of them. You know what I'm saying? but like you are kind of the people you hang with. Even if you are a victim, you're not totally, your hands aren't totally clean. But what I don't like is the fact that Kim can't defend herself about this. If this did occur and Kim did get her fired, I mean, what are you going to do about it now? You know what I'm saying? If you're saying that Kim told your boss to fire you and Diddy was going to do something, if Diddy didn't do it, then why is it in here? We only want to know about the things that Diddy did, because you can't get anything from Kim Porter at this point. So all of this again is salacious so that people will read like, oh, so painting somewhat of a different picture of Kim Porter. You know, we know that she wasn't perfect. Who is? But is it necessary? In the docs filed by Tyrone Blackburn, April says she and Diddy ran into each other once more in Rockefeller Center around the end of 2000 or 2001, when she points out he was dating Jennifer Lopez. Now she got J-Lo's name in it. Not that I care about J-Lo, but okay, what does that have to do with anything? After exchanging pleasantries, she claims Diddy ended up coming back to her apartment, where he suddenly grabbed her and forced himself into her, but she was able to fight him off and he left. See, again, this stuff is kind of reading like a little novel, like a tell-all, but in a lawsuit. You see what I'm saying? And I just don't know that it's going to rise to the civil, to the standards, because we already see that the case that he filed on behalf of J-Rod, Little Rod, that UMG is being dismissed. I mean, they're being removed from the case, and Lucy and Grange. So I feel like we're going to see more of that in all of these mounting lawsuits that he's filing, because I feel like he's making procedural errors. He's just doing too much with these suits. Like, are you really vetting these people? Are you fact finding, making sure that they have the evidence to support what they're saying? Cassie is a different story. She dated this man for damn near a decade. She had some legitimate time with him, people to corroborate these things. And y'all got to listen to me. I'm not saying that these women are telling the truth. Trust me. But what I'm saying is you can't just file frivolous lawsuits like this without a substantial amount of proof and evidence, and especially with the time. When they told us about the Cassie suit, they told us that Cassie filed that suit when she did because it was right, like it was right on the heels of some kind of statute running out, where the statute of limitations, where you wouldn't be able to file a suit for sexual abuse and stuff if it had happened over 10 or 20 years ago or something. So these cases, from what this woman is saying, is going way back to the the late 1990s, early 2000s. So if the statute has already run and there was a deadline in New York in which you could file, is this even legitimate? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that he knows case law, and he would know, if he could still file, and he should know whether or not the statutes were relevant and all that stuff. But it just kind of makes you raise an eyebrow, like, what's happening? Because now he is the go-to attorney for all of these people against Diddy. Why aren't they going to the guy who got $30 million for Cassie's attorney? Ask yourself that, because you know why? Because Cassie's attorney probably said, it could be true, but you just don't have, I can't prove this in court. I don't have enough evidence. You're not giving me enough. That's what I think. And we've seen this happen before with what's her name, Gloria, that one attorney. She was doing all of those she even represented Black China and some stuff, and those cases got dropped. I feel like Cassie's attorney, if you come to him, you need the meat and potatoes. He's not just taking anything. But anyway, back to this. She says, and there's this. Sometime last year, April claims someone told her then boyfriend he had seen a video of her having sex with Diddy in the suit. She says she's been told Diddy recorded the actual encounter without her knowledge and has shown the video to multiple people. Okay, well, you're going to have to provide proof I mean, we do know Diddy has recorded things, but do we know it was without your consent? I'm just saying. So when I'm looking at some of this, I'm looking at it not just from, of course, I want Diddy to be, get his just desserts and all that stuff, his just due. But also, I still question some people who are jumping on the bandwagon for a quick money grab. Like at this point, anybody could come forward and say anything. Seriously. I mean, most of us probably know somebody that knows Diddy or spend time with him. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've already interviewed Malika from Making the Band. Like, everybody, we all know somebody that knows somebody or something relative to Diddy at this point. And we all know what his history is and what he's been accused of. So it's not far-fetched to say that you could come up with a story if you spent any amount of time with him, right? She is suing Diddy for sexual assault, battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, but she also lists Bad Boy Records, Arista, and Sony Music Entertainment as defendants, claiming they enabled him to commit the crimes. And yeah, so that's interesting right there, because people want to point fingers and say, oh, the music label enabled him. Did you keep going back? You didn't enable him too? Cassie was his girlfriend. Kim Porter was, I mean, for me, some of this is beyond, it's kind of getting to the point, come on now. You're saying they enabled them. Well, so you didn't enable, you had no, all of this, you had no, you didn't have any hand in any of this when you were taking the gifts, going back, and you knew what he was. I mean, it's just starting to sound like, come on. Everybody is trying to take Cassie's template and make it their own. And I just don't think all of these lawsuits are going to stand. I don't. And they end saying, we've reached out to Diddy's camp for no comment, nothing back yet. April's attorney is also representing, now this is the part, Rodney Jones, Liza Gardner, Grace Omarkai, I'm probably mispronouncing that name. The young lady who sued Christian Combs. It comes on the heels of the former model Crystal McKinney. She's also suing Diddy. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Cassie 6. So I think there's a 7th one. So basically, what we see is that they're just mounting lawsuits against Diddy, right? And like I said yesterday, nobody's really talking about the criminal charges because the feds have that, but we're not trying to pursue any criminal charges for his actions. We just want to get paid. And I understand that, but that kind of gives you, that kind of lessens the severity of the crime for me, because I think that it should be both, to be honest. I understand you want to be compensated. There should be some kind of compensation for your mental anguish and everything, but are you also pursuing the criminal aspect? Because once it starts becoming criminal, it's a little different. Remember, civil suits don't rise to criminal cases. So is that the reason some of these people aren't taking it to the criminal level? It just makes you wonder. It will make you wonder, Candy Girl says, now I wonder what Crispy Combs thinks about his dad now. I mean, unfortunately, that's his dad, and kids love their parents. And I think it's going to take time for them to process that. It's like this person has, regardless of what we think about him and how horrible we see him, that's their father. He's been their provider, their caretaker, their nurturer with their moms for years, and they've grown up under, his tutelage. And so whatever he's brainwashed them to believe, it's going to be hard for them to reconcile. Even when parents abuse their kids, they still love them. That's a fact. They've done studies to show that. I mean, even like in when the people, I forget the syndrome they call it, where somebody could kidnap you, and then you still want to protect, you bond with your kidnapper or the person who's abused you. Stockholm syndrome. So, that's his dad, And so it's just going to take a minute. And I think he also, I think it was King that said him and Cassie had settled that back in 2016. Why they bringing it up now? So that just shows you his immaturity and the fact that he doesn't really know what's going on. He's still very young and immature, and that's his dad. You know, um, I'm a mother, and so when it comes to the world, my daughter could do. I mean, there's some stuff she just can't do. That I'll be like, look, girl, I, God gonna have to forgive you for that one. But you know, we tend to protect our loved ones, so I think it's gonna be hard for them to really face it. I also heard that people, you know, the twins, they went to their prom, and people were saying that they showed some pictures on TikTok of their prom dresses and stuff, and those are gorgeous girls. They look like their mom. They are gorgeous, but people were so mean. They had to turn off the comments because people were giving them, you know, hate and just saying negative things to them. And those girls are what, are they even 18? It's not their fault. Their mom is gone and their dad is a piece of ish. But why are people, why are, and mainly grown people, adults, why are grown people abusing those kids and making comments to them as if it's their fault? I mean, they're victims too. Like their dad more than likely is going to go to prison. Thank God that they're 18. You know, I think every mother, every parent wants their kid to be of age if something happens, if they leave this world, so that they don't get abused, you know, or at least they're old enough to make their own decisions. So great, praise God. Thank you, Kim, for watching over those girls. So at least they're 18 and they can, you know, be together and kind of make a way for themselves in the world. But for grown people to bully them and make comments and say the negative things to those young girls, I don't understand. Like women too, mothers. We could talk about this man like a damn dog, but there's no way that I would not have empathy for two young girls who lost their mother and whose dad is facing all of this stuff, you know, this scrutiny, and push it off on them when they had nothing to do with it, you know. But y'all, now let's get to the other stuff about why I think some of these cases are going to start getting tossed out. So, like I said, y'all, wait a minute. I didn't take this, y'all. Why did somebody tell me I didn't take this banner off? I'm just reading stuff to you guys that got the banner on. I'm probably gonna have to put this video on private because I look like I screwed up tonight. But anyway, there's this attorney, because she's saying she's an attorney and she's making the statements and breaking stuff down in more of a legal way. A lot of people are jumping up here saying, "Oh, Diddy has another lawsuit," da 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 da, but they're not taking the pause and saying, "How realistic is this lawsuit? I mean, realistically, are these cases going to stand?" And let's look at the history of the attorney because that can have a huge impact on the case. So I can only play so much. You know, you can't play somebody else's commentary. So let's look at this young lady here. She is an attorney, and I'm just going to play just a little bit, but let's listen to her talk about Tyrone Blackburn. I looked him up too. Well, I've been hearing that he's going to be sanctioned and stuff and possibly facing a malpractice suit. But let's listen to what she says, and which makes me believe that some of these cases are not going to, he ain't going to win.
It is what UMC G is saying, and Lucian, what Grange, and some other people. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Sir Lucian Grange, Motown Records, and UMG Recording Inc. incorrectly identified in the complaint, First Amendment complaint, and the Second Amendment complaint. So we're on the third thing of this. I thought we were only on the second, but yeah, that would make sense. We're on the third one. As Universal Music Group, and I am also misidentifying them as Universal Music Group. I'm just calling them UMG. I guess they're called UMG Recording, so they're like Universal Music Group Recording Incorporated. That's a long name. Either way it goes, let's go on. Which is not a judicial entity, hereinafter sometimes collectively referred to as UMG, submits this memorandum of law in support of their motion pursuant this code section and the inherent power of this court for orders sanctioning plaintiff Rodney Jones and plaintiff's counsel Tyrone Anthony Blackburn, not putting his whole name out there.
So right there, you see UMG, they are trying to get him sanctioned for putting their names and adding them into that complaint with Little Rod. And so what I feel like, and if you've read, different articles about it, he has had a history of sensationalizing some of these incidents without proof, knowing that there's no real legal standing, but just for the fact of filing the suit, just getting it out there. And he has to have these people dismissed from the case, right? So I feel like this is going to happen with some of these other cases. If y'all go back a couple years, remember, he was the attorney who had 5 or 6 people trying to sue Tiny and T.I. And we thought, oh my God, yeah, he got him now. Tiny did this, they did that. How many of those? Now, they may have settled, but how many of those cases, as far as I've seen, there's been no convictions. There was no settlements that we heard of, not like with the Diddy and the Cassie complaint. As far as I think 2 of the cases were dismissed. So where are his wins? And it looks like he's doing it again. But let's go back and listen to her.
I like that. They're going to call him Blackburn for the purpose of this lawsuit. So don't call Tyrone. I know a lot of you are out there. I'm not hating on you, Tyrone, but you are getting in trouble a little bit. So I'm just trying to warn that maybe it's a little bit. I'm just trying to warn the people not to. You got a little bit of heat on you. It's time to calm it down a little bit and maybe like take a break. That's what I'm going to suggest here. Preliminary statement. UMG served its second motion to dismiss on April 24, 2024. We are almost at a full month from that day. And its second motion for Rule 11 sanctions on plaintiff and Blackburn on April 26, 2024, providing plaintiff and Blackburn with a 21-day safe harbor within which to take action to avoid the imposition of sanctions. So the safe harbor, basically they send out a letter and let them know, like, if you don't stop this, I'm going to sue you. But you have to give them the full 21 days to say, okay, I'm going to stop it, or okay, I'm not going to stop it. And in this case, we'll get into it, but Blackburn basically said, okay, I'm going to stop it. If he had let the 21 days go on, then he could be awarded sanctions under the Rule 11. But the UMG is going to argue some different positions for the sanctions because he did beat the safe harbor. He did, pull out after they told him, like, hey, if you don't pull out, there's going to be some serious issues. So that's what the safe harbor is, just to give him time to say, you know what, I'm going to change my mind here. Okay. So where was we at? Plaintiff's opposition to UMG's motion to dismiss was due on May 15, and the 21-day safe harbor period would have expired on May 17th, 2024. Keep those dates in your mind. Thus, despite having filed a complaint, a first amended complaint, and a second amended.
Okay, so I'm going to forward it a little bit because I want her to kind of go into and fair use. Just, this is, again, fair use. I want her to mention the possible malpractice suit because I think that's a big deal.
Big complaint. All from the imposition of Rule 11 sanctions they richly deserve for their conduct, but they cannot and should not be permitted to dodge sanctions under the court's inherent power and under 28 USC 1927. Now, as there is that if he is held liable for these sanctions jointly and severally, or maybe only against Rodney, or maybe only if it's only against his attorney, he's good. But if it's only against Rodney or jointly and severally, which means they both are responsible, but if one doesn't pay it, then the other one has to pay the whole thing, or could be liable for the whole thing. Blackburn will, and I can't say I can guarantee it, but if it turns out that Rodney is going to have to pay some sanctions. Blackburn is probably going to face a malpractice lawsuit, which is one of the lawsuits that he's actually helping somebody with that we kind of covered on this channel because of other issues that he had in the federal courts, i.e. that declaration that I previously talked about at the beginning of the stream, where he was supposed to be telling the court how he knew where one of the respondents lived or one of the defendants lived, but he instead just brought up a whole bunch of other nonsense that had nothing to do with what the court was asking for. So that is a malpractice lawsuit. If it turns out that Rodney is going to have to pay some attorney's fees, Blackburn very well can be facing his own malpractice lawsuit because, hey, as an attorney, we have to analyze these things and figure out if this is a good lawsuit to actually file. So,
okay, you guys. So y'all heard that this man, Tyrone Blackburn, has historically, I would say in the last 4 or 5 years, he has been bringing lawsuits against several celebrities, and he has not been successful. So now let's look at, we're just going to jump around a little bit and look at some of the cases. So, recently he's the attorney who is suing DJ Academics, or filing suit, I should say. So let's look at this. Attorney in Little Rod's case, Diddy, criticized by judge for a pattern of salacious case filings. So basically what they're letting us know is that, yeah, we're seeing all these lawsuits against Diddy. Of course, the Cassie suit, legitimate. He settled. But all of these other little suits are sort of like people may be coming forward. There may be some validity, but will they be able to prove it 20 years later and get a payout? And so that's what the court is saying. Like, don't waste our time. Did something happen? Probably. But how realistically, what are you going to be able to prove? Just because we know this man shot somebody in the toe 20 years ago, don't mean he did it to everybody. And although more than likely he did, can you prove it? It's the court of law. And you want us to give you some money, so we got to make you prove it. Once we get an attorney who's starting to get the reputation of creating salacious case filings, your chances and the success rate start to diminish and go down, right? Because these filings are going to be in front of the same judges in the same courts in the same areas, and then it kind of starts to sour your case. But anyway, this one is let's see, this one, I believe this one, okay, is this the one? Okay, so I was going to show you the one about DJ Academics, but we can get into this one too. It says Tyrone Blackburn, the attorney who filed one of the high-profile actual abuse lawsuits against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, is now under the spotlight for potential disciplinary actions, Billboard reports. This development comes after a federal judge critiqued Blackburn's approach to filing lawsuits, suggesting they aim to attract media buzz, embarrass defendants rather than seek justice. Didn't I say that? And I hadn't even read this. I'm reading this with you guys. These cases he's filing. So when you're seeing all over, when you're watching this all over YouTube and people saying, oh, Diddy got another lawsuit, these things, they're just kind of coming out like stories, like salacious stories or a YouTube story or something, because a lot of these may not have a good legal standing. They don't have a leg to stand on. It says Blackburn's approach to filing lawsuits, suggesting they aim to attract media buzz and embarrass the defendants rather than seek justice. And even the bad part about that is that when he's saying this stuff, if it's true, if it turns out that, most of these cases they dismiss, and, he's using people to make a name for himself, putting these women out there, these men out there, bringing up their actual past. I don't want to say humiliating themselves, but, talking about I did bent over like this and did that. You wouldn't do that and be public with it if you didn't think that there was going to be, if you were not going to win your case, right? And if he knows that he really has no legal basis and that he can't win, I think that's also egregious. Like, he really should be held accountable, because now you're using people to make a name for yourself, to make these stories just to get your name in the media, when you know that these people don't have any ability to really win these cases. And I feel like he's done that. And just like Little Rod, this is not Little Rod's first lawsuit against Diddy. So if he didn't win before, I mean, there's some new issues that are at play in this case. But are you really trying to seek justice for these people, or just really trying to make a name for yourself, Tyrone? I mean, it's sad. This news emerges amid Blackburn's ongoing role as the leading attorney for Rodney Little Rod Jones in a comprehensive abuse case filed against Combs this February. Combs, facing several such accusations, and federal criminal probe recently has vehemently denied all charges. Well, we know that some of the charges against him are definitely true. I mean, we saw the video with Cassie, so he can't deny all charges. Blackburn, undeterred by the judge's comments, insists this will not affect his capacity to continue representing Jones, even planning to appeal Judge Coates' decision. See, this man, he's going to appeal and he's going to do all of this stuff. But I feel like, just with like some of his other cases, it's not gonna end well for his clients. It's not. So that's that article. Let's see. Let's go look at DJ Academics. This is another one. Okay. So DJ Academics spills the tea on lawyer Tyrone Blackburn's celebrity lawsuits. See, that's the thing. When I went and looked at his profile in terms of what kind of law he practices, it said employment law, which of course you can have actual harassment, workplace harassment and all that stuff in the workplace. But it's interesting because now most of his suits are like actual abuse, but they talk about employment law. So I guess to some degree, his spin on the employment law is focusing on the fact that these women were around Diddy and they were supposed to be in some kind of an employment capacity. Because again, you really want to get an attorney who is an expert in that particular field. So, I mean, I don't know. I didn't look that much into depth, about what he does. But when you look him up, and I mean, his profile has changed a bit over the last couple of years. It did say primarily employment law. So DJ Academics spills the tea on lawyer Tyrone Blackburn's celebrity lawsuits. Because, like I said just a minute ago, because now he has been added to this lawsuit where Tyrone Blackburn is suing him, or representing somebody suing him, saying that he, essayed a woman, a girl that he was dating and everything. And he talked about it. And in DJ Academics' case, I feel something did occur. Again, I don't think that all of these women are lying or that nothing occurred, but it's the messenger that's probably going to cause them a problem in the court because of who's filing these cases. I would say anybody who has an airtight case against Diddy or any of these guys, go to Cassie's attorney, because right now Tyrone Blackburn is looking like a person who can't be trusted and who's not going to win your case. DJ Academics recently took his investigative skills to YouTube, unraveling the complex narrative behind lawyer Tyrone Blackburn's lawsuits against some of the biggest names in the biz. In a recent episode that's got everyone buzzing, DJ Academics dropped some major insights into the world of celebrity lawsuits. And y'all, it's a story that reads like a Hollywood script. So I'm going to just kind of breeze over all of this, because if y'all like me, I don't like to get into all the deep details. But anyway, the twist began when Little Rod reached out for DJ Academics' number. And not even half an hour later, someone claiming to be Christian Combs' bodyguard hit AK up with a track alleging it featured Christian Combs spitting bars over a Cassie song. Talk about a plot twist. Oh, wow, this is even new to me, because I didn't read this yet. So, okay. But it was the bizarre phone call that sent DJ Academics down a rabbit hole, leading to the spotlight being thrown on lawyer Tyrone Blackburn, known for his salacious lawsuits against celebrities. Academics didn't hold back, shedding light on Blackburn's history of suing high profile names like Diddy, Nicki Minaj. Yes, he filed a suit against Nicki Minaj. I believe he represented that woman, Jennifer. If y'all remember, Jennifer came out and was saying that Nicki's husband didn't file. He moved to California and he didn't file, the registered offenders. He did something like that, and that he was trying to give her money. All this stuff. That's a whole nother subject. But he represented her and T.I. and Tiny. Okay. According to academics, Blackburn's MO seems less about justice, of course, and more about what looks like a shakedown aiming to squeeze out settlements from these stars. So basically, what he's saying is that Tyrone, I think you better call Tyrone, call him if you want some money. Like, Tyrone ain't following procedure. Tyrone is just like, look, let's file this suit. They're going to be so embarrassed, like the Cassie suit, because Cassie's attorney accomplished what he set out to do. 24 hours later, they had a paycheck. That's not happening with Tyrone. Let's look at the facts. It's not happening with Tyrone. As a matter of fact, in some of Tyrone's cases, they be dragging on for years. Okay. So, it says academics didn't hold back. So it goes on to say, Diddy's yacht drama. Blackburn represents a woman. So they're given a list of all the accusations and I guess these lawsuits and where Tyrone fits into all of this. Blackburn represents a woman claiming she was sexually assaulted on Diddy's yacht. Something's off, as academic points out the lack of federal investigation despite the alleged victim's willingness to cooperate. Christian Combs accusation. Another lawsuit thrown at Diddy's son, Christian Combs, over an alleged assault on a yacht. Academic notes that Little Rod was also present that night. Oh, okay. So I guess what they're setting up a pattern here, saying that not only is Little Rod have a case, but he's also present and affiliated with these additional victims that are filing lawsuits, and he's at all of the scenes of the crime. Because now that I think about it, remember, Little Rod was at the scene where they had the pow in the bathroom. So that's interesting too. I mean, the courts are going to look at all of this, right? They're going to call some of this frivolous lawsuits. Tiffany Haddish's skit gone wrong. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, hold up, y'all. I'm just seeing this. Don't tell me Tyrone was part of this. Please don't say that. I didn't even know this. This is news to me. Tiffany Haddish's skit gone wrong. Academics brought to light a clip from the Jason Lee show where Jason Lee put Blackburn in the hot seat. The focus, his involvement in the lawsuit that accused Tiffany Haddish of participating in child sex abuse. What? I didn't know that Tyrone Blackburn was the attorney associated and involved in that. Y'all, we learned something tonight, or at least I did. Academics showcased Jason Lee's screenshots of chats and even played a call from Blackburn himself, laying bare accusations of Blackburn employing what academics describes as extortion tactics for a financial payoff. Oh my goodness. Man, so see, now this is interesting because while Cassie's suit seems to be one of the legitimate ones, and we do know that Diddy has probably been involved in some skullduggery, some of this stuff ain't adding up. Not even because it's with the same attorney. Have you guys ever heard of people? Okay, well, yeah, let me just say this because I know I lose my train of thought. I had a friend who was trying to sue. I'm not going to say the details because she might be listening to the video, but she wanted to sue some people. She went to about 10 different attorneys and they all said no. And finally, when she found one to take the case, we found out the man had been disbarred. So I'm not saying this is the case with Tyrone, but I'm just saying something ain't right here, okay? Nicki Minaj's husband under fire. Kenneth Petty faced a lawsuit for alleged sexual assault, with Blackburn allegedly trying to leverage media pressure against Nicki Minaj to settle. Nicki Minaj's lawyer labeled the attorney's conduct as disgraceful and beyond shocking, pushing for sanctions. Minaj, alongside her legal team, argues that Tyrone Blackburn deserves significant repercussions. They're advocating for him to face financial penalties and a referral to the federal court's attorney disciplinary committee. This man better be careful before he becomes disbarred. You know what I'm saying? Their argument hinges on the claim that Blackburn has been engaging in, I said, frivolous and extortionate legal actions against Minaj, which they described as utterly deplorable. See, his reputation is starting to precede him and look like the cases you bring, they're not even going to take it serious. And that's important. So much of your lawsuit and your case, whether it's true or false or whatever, is based on who is representing you, how well you make the argument. I mean, it's a matter of who can win. And from what I'm seeing, I don't know. This guy is not looking very credible. DJ Academics dive into these cases, exposes a pattern that's hard to ignore, raising questions about the intentions behind Blackburn's legal battles. Is it a quest for justice? I don't think so. I said that. Or a strategic play for settlements. Yeah, to secure a bag. It's almost like blackmail. We're going to file this suit and we got some secrets or something. Even if they occurred or didn't, or if you did half of it, like some stuff you probably just don't want to come out. Well, you better give us some money or, we're going to go to the media with this. While Academics Insights offer a compelling look into these allegations, it is clear this saga is far from over, leaving us all watching closely to see how it unfolds. So that's Tyrone Blackburn's history. I mean, that's just a little bit of his history with him suing celebrities. Now let's look at his history, like reviews about him online. So it's Tyrone Anthony Blackburn. He has, let's see, that's 5 stars. He has 2.3 stars, only a few reviews. He's been a licensed attorney out in New York for about 5 years. So this person says Tyrone Blackburn has never lost a case. Okay. But has he settled or have they been dismissed or okay. And then it goes on to talk about Nicki Minaj's delusional fans. But this person says, this man has lost more cases than won any. At first, I thought he would be great, but I was wrong. Do not hire him. And I guess, to be fair, I should read more for what Nicki says. Nicki Minaj's delusional fans have created a bevy of fake negative reviews. Okay, so he's saying they're fake. But I don't know how fake they are because if you just look at the history of the cases that he's fought against, like Tiny T.I. and all these other people, yeah, they haven't been successful. So I wouldn't necessarily say that. I wouldn't necessarily believe that these people are filing fake reviews. And then this goes on to just talk about he's a founding attorney. He has a solo practice, I'm assuming, T.A. Blackburn Law. Seeks justice. He's in New York. He believes in aggressively challenging major businesses and corporations. See, it's talking about businesses, corporations, government entities, and those holding power over others. But now it looks like he's more into the celebrity entertainment law, because that's what most of the cases that we're hearing. So this person again said, okay, so this is a repeat of what we saw earlier. And then this person says, fake lawyer. He is a con artist. He does not understand the law. No one should hire him. He has never won a case. He is a fraud. And I hate to say it because I don't know. I mean, I haven't been following this man's case, his career. But it just sounds like with these high profile cases that he's had, he hasn't had a lot of success. And so now we're starting to hear his name tossed around a lot. Oh, Tyrone Blackburn, attorney Blackburn. But what happens with him, which I definitely remember because I covered the Tiny and T.I. cases that we hear that he comes out with these big cases. They get a lot of media attention for about 3 to 4 months, and then they fizzle out. They die out, and you hear no more about them, right? You don't hear it was settled. You don't hear he won. It's just like, okay, it just kind of goes, just goes away. And as the attorney that we listened to, as she stated, it sounds like he's about to have some problems, if not a lawsuit, some sanctions. And I think these cases, some of them are going to be dismissed. It's not that nothing happened. I'm not saying that at all. It just sounds like he just be filing stuff and not even making sure that he has a legal standing. It's like, oh, well, let's just get this story out. Let's just get the story out. I don't care what. I don't care if we win. Here's another. I mean, there's just so many articles out about him. This is another one. Attorney at center, and this came out in April. Attorney at center of Diddy accusations under fire for alleged misconduct. I mean, how? And another thing, I wonder, these people who are hiring him, like, are they really doing their due diligence? Because like I said, I was a legal secretary. I sued a major corporation, a Fortune 500 company, and I've been involved in another lawsuit. Before you get an attorney, you want to vet them yourself. You want to know what their history is. So I don't understand why these women are, why they're getting this attorney that have conduct issues, right? Hold on, you guys. I lost the page. Let me get back there because I wanted to look at what they're saying. Okay, I got it right here. Attorney at center of Diddy's accusations under fire for alleged misconduct. In a recent development out of the Southern District of New York occurred. So that's where everybody, that's where, I believe that's where Cassie's lawsuit was filed. Attorney Tyrone Blackburn, known for representing plaintiffs in high-profile cases against celebrities, has been scrutinized, often in the limelight for his representation of plaintiffs against prominent figures like, Puffy, Nicki, T.I. Tiny, Tiffany Haddish. I just learned about that one. Blackburn has faced criticism in a court filing issued by Judge Denise Coate. So it's saying that Blackburn's behavior was chastised, alleging a pattern of improperly filed cases aimed at attracting media attention. So basically, I've read this in another article. It's just showing there's just tons and tons of documentation, articles, information, and I'm sure I could find, the court filings where it looks like Tyrone Blackburn is an ambulance chaser and probably a person who is just trying to file these cases to get a quick bag for himself and the alleged victims. So we'll just have to see how this plays out. But I just thought this was interesting today because I saw all of these different YouTube channels saying, oh, there's a new lawsuit against Diddy. And I was like, oh, what happened? And then when I realized it's Tyrone Blackburn again, I'm not saying, please, y'all, don't crucify me. I'm not saying that, hey, Great T News, thank you for joining. Thank you. Yes, and thanks for reminding me, like the video. Everybody go check out Grape Tea News. I'm doing the Grape Tea News Challenge, which is a 30-day challenge trying to go live for 30 days in a row. I think he's great. You're on day 60 today. Did you reach your goal today? If you're still in the chat, let me know. But I am doing the Grape Tea Challenge. And yeah, so I'm on day, I think, 10 or 11. But y'all, I'm getting ready to wrap this video. I thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for coming over. I'll be back tomorrow. But I just want to wrap on this. While everybody is anxious that there's going to be an indictment coming down on Diddy, we're all waited with bated breath to see when is it going to happen, what's going to happen, all of these federal raids. What does that mean? Is there going to be an arrest? Is he going to be indicted? All of that stuff. From what we're hearing, it's coming. But these lawsuits from these different women, I'm not saying it didn't occur. I'm not saying they're not victims, but given Tyrone Blackburn's pattern, I think you're going to see a lot of these cases be dismissed, and or they're just not going to yield any major results the way people are saying it. I mean, more than anything, it's just salacious. It's just another headline. It's just something else to talk about Diddy. Like, oh my God, he's being sued by the whole world, right? But in reality, a lot of it is just fluff and, just for a headline. So anyway, y'all, that's my time. I've been up here for an hour. Thank you for joining me. I hope I see you tomorrow. Take care. Tomorrow is Happy Friday. Enjoy your Friday, and y'all have a good evening. Thank you. Bye.